Instead, we're going to be jumping in straight into the map. This was quick. That was a very quick segment, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm going to go grab myself a drink to watch the remainder of the game. So, gentlemen, XP Fixes, take this one away. Map 1, Erangel, going live.
Thank you so much. And well, on your screens, you have a look at the plane path. We're heading down from the northeast to the southwest, kind of towards the northern side of the map. And Fixes, you have to take me through all the drop locations because, well, nobody knows better than you right now.
I mean, we can see different drop locations in the form of Team Megastars. You see them rotating through Komeshki, right? So they've adapted. So they've learned that during the scrims, you just can't go to Novoripnoi all the time. You see Team Seoul, they're in the western Georgiopol city. Usually they loot somewhere near to the western quarry side, but they're here at the western Georgiopol city, somewhere where TSM Entity loves going. And you can see Dead Eyes team going to Ruzok, where we usually see Marcus Gaming. So quite a lot of changes have been made. So we have to see as the game slowly progress in what are the teams intending. But as we can see on the screen, we have Sichi trying to run over this guy from Team Powerhouse.
This is actually quite interesting because if Powerhouse actually lose 2 members right now, is there going to be a knock? Oh, he jumped out. I don't know. That was exciting right now. I mean, that guy knows how to move. I mean, maybe parkour could be a thing for him in future. But I want to ask you a question. So as you mentioned that, you can't always drive down or you can't always land at Novo, for example. At this stage, is it in the team's best interest to risk taking those vehicles and crossing the bridge, looting up and coming back strong, or would that be a bit of a gamble, so to speak?
I would call it as a bit of a bummer because look at the time, XP. It's just 1 minute 40 seconds remaining for the first circle to close in. So by the time they even reach Novoripnoi, I think the circle would have started closing in, and then you have to also get inside the zone, which is pretty far, as you can see, and it's somewhere centered around, if I'm not wrong, maybe towards the ruins. So I'll be throwing back a question at you.
Right.
Like, what do you think? Where will the last final circle be at?
Well, now, I mean, if you have a look at it, we have pretty much the Georgiopol infamous squad house just east of the containers as pretty much the center of that circle. So, I mean, we've put this question forward time in and time out. Zone prediction, is it true or is it a myth? I'll tell you one thing. I mean, you have a few cues, right? You have the drops falling. You have, I believe the red zone is kind of a giveaway, but I'm totally wrong. I mean, what do I know? But I think we might actually go on towards the Georgiopol mountain. I mean, I would love to see some sniping action from right up top over there.
I mean, over the course of this meta, I've seen a lot of, changes. A lot of players are going for the DMRs. A bolt action is kind of used by a lot of few players only. I just see a handful number of players actually going for it. We've seen Daljit. We have seen Kill sometimes, opting for that bolt action. But apart from them, I've not seen much players, really shining it out. Team Soul always has a varied players using the bolt action. Sometimes we see the birthday boy model with it. Sometimes we see Viper, and then again, if you're talking about TSM Entity, oh my god, these guys, I mean, I've seen 3 guys, racking up that bolt action. So, but mostly I've seen TSM Entity going for those M16s or maybe the M416 sprays. Like, that's the common meta that has been going on apparently, XP.
I mean, talking about the birthday boy, wouldn't it be an amazing gift if they started off with a chicken dinner today?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, that would be something that I'm sure they're going forward. Yeah, you just mentioned TSM Entity, right? Of course, we have Schreider on our screens looting away right now. Let me just brush up on something. You mentioned that they use the M4 and the M16 as their go-to weapons, right? Now, I believe that these guys are versatile with all weapons, be it an assault rifle, be it a DMR, even a sniper, a bolt action in some occasions. Is it that, whatever you get first, you're going to use that? Or do you think that, specific people have a specific job in the team?
I mean, you can never have a specific job, or let's talk about a fight in hand. Say we've got a 4v4 fight. You just can't tell that, hey, you're the support. Why are you just ahead? You just need to come back. So that cannot be done, right? You have to adapt to the situation. So, the meta in South Asian region has gone very aggressive. So every player needs to, somehow accustom to every role. They need to know how these things are played and they need to adjust. Talking about adjustments, we can see this is TSM Entity's turf, and we are seeing Team Soul looting because they know that TSM Entity is not in this particular game. They can just loot this area, they can just loot this territory and get a better position in the circle, and they're right close to Everest, like as we were just speaking of a few moments ago.
Absolutely, and Fnatic, of course, these guys are dropping in their favorite spot. Of course, I mean, they've played this particular meta a lot of times, and they're very well versed at the rotations around these places. But yeah, like you mentioned, that an entity usually does go to those houses and those apartments in West Georgia, Paul. Seoul is kind of having like a field day over there, but you got to remember that I do believe a team did drop nearby. But of course, I think they have to wait for the zone to change to figure out what their next move is going to be. Like on our screens right now, we have the boys from Elementrix, and these guys are just going to be looting blissfully because not a lot of people are in their vicinity right now.
Yeah, and likewise, just we were talking about Team Tamil as they're on the thoughtful containers. So I think they might just go to face with Team Toll. But right now, I'm really worried about them because lately containers have been having a huge drastic drop in the loot rate. So I'm really curious as to whether they will find their favorite scopes, or even if they've got a good amount of utilities to get inside the circle and just fight it out. Because if you're in the center, you really need to have those first aids, because you'll be constantly taking fights from left, right, from this front, from the back, everywhere. So we see Team Orange Rock even looting Water City and then just waiting ahead, and there's a team really closing in.
Well, Jeet kind of has some good popping skills. He's spotted Wick right in between, and have a look at this Chief, who is actually lighting up OR right now. He gets a knock on Mavi. He kind of almost got the Jeet as well, but that Mini 4-2 doing what it does best, that rapid fire shots from distance. And I do believe Lazy is trying to go in on a little bit of a flank, but he gets spotted and knocked out by Viru with that Scar L. Beautiful cover for his teammates. Do you think that they're in a position that they might actually get trapped a bit, so to speak?
Yeah, Orange Rock is in a really bad position, reason being why they're just in one compound. All the 4 players are, kind of restricted. If Team Deadeyes, makes those rotations. But here we see Orange Rock has some kind of a capitalization on Team Deadeyes, because they've gotten them off guard. They've just gotten them pinned down beside a tree. And, you can see Illusion trying to, juke out left and right. But how long? That's my question. Meanwhile, Utsarga takes a knock onto its powerhouse Nova King, and things are getting pretty intense really early into the game.
Now, Team Extreme, of course, like you just mentioned, they got a knock on Nova King, and Zebra, if you have a look, he is kind of rotating to the left. Do you think, I don't know, I think Nova King might be left or dead. Of course, the zone also doing a lot of damage over here. But I think Team 15, that is, of course, Deadeye guys, like you mentioned, they were kind of pinned down behind that tree, and they lost that opportunity to kind of rotate around Orange Rock and get up on that hill to the north of that compound, and basically shoot down from all sides. And wow, is that the end of one team, or has Powerhouse just lost 2 members already?
They just have lost 2 members. They've lost 2 crucial members. They've lost their IGL, that's Zebra. They've lost their frontline assaulter in the form of Nova. So it all comes down to Iconic and Dark again. So we've always been talking about these 2 lads, and they've always time and again performed. And Iconic and Dark, you've even played with them. You've known these lads have improved so much over the past 1 year. I would consider them being the backbone of Team Powerhouse all the time, because I've seen them doing those clutches like every single time they play.
We're obviously having a look at Lazy lay down some shots on the enemy over there in the form of Orange Rock. But if you had a look, wait, I'm going to come back to my point. I think Lazy and his teammate might actually get ready for a little bit of an aggressive gameplay over here. Mavi could be spotted out, because Mavi and Viru are now on the aggro. They are going in for the kill. They know that 2 players from Deadeye guys are pinned down at that ridge, and in fact, a good coordinated attack by Orange Rock can spell trouble for these 2 boys.
Yeah, and they've got the high ground advantage, which they can really use. But by the moves of it, we can see them kind of backing off, then going forward. But yeah, Viru comes in with that beautiful kill onto its Deadeye's Lazy Sir. Now Shifu Sir is in a lot of trouble, as the entire troop is marching in right on at his face, and that goes that another knock, and to knocking down Shifu, and he'll just go and finish him off.
I think Deadeye guys, they kind of had the upper hand, but unfortunately they are now reduced to a 2-man squad. And I'm going to bring up one point till we wait and watch these boys do all their looting. If you notice that drop earlier in the water, it had an M249 and the coveted 8X. And the latest patch update states that there's a 37% drop in the number of scopes in the game. I mean, even though it's in the water, I think that is one of those drops that has a very, very, very high reward attached to it. 8 eggs,
Yeah,
man.
I mean,
Wow.
obviously, because this needed to be done. This was really coming because you have to do that. These teams are well adapted. If you give them a 3 times scope or a 6 times, maybe an 8 times, they'll just wreak havoc everywhere. Now, with the reduced scope, it comes down to how good you are with the iron sight or maybe, with the red dots, which are even pretty rare to find. But here we can see VSG crawlers are moving into the compounds near shooting range, and they would like to stay there for quite some while and then maybe make a rotation down from the north and enter towards the northwestern Georgia Paul city. As you can
Yeah,
see,
but-
there's another
right.
drop, XP.
And AUGA3, but we'll just come to that in a second. Have a look at the zone right now. Still pretty much centered. I think my prediction might just come true, but most teams are now finding their way into the zone, and I do see a few teams concentrated around the Georgia Paul containers. Seoul, of course, is still, if I'm not wrong, in West Georgia Paul, and I only saw a couple of teams. I think VSG crawlers are coming around from the north at the shooting range. I mean, okay. Here's the question. Now, we discussed this a little earlier, that, what should the gameplay be? Do you go and take the central position right away because the circles are obviously shrinking? The size of the zone is shrinking, and oh my goodness, Iconic gets taken down by Demon. That is vehicular manslaughter, ladies and gentlemen, in front of you right now. But I think PH is in a world of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've just got Dark remaining. But speaking about trouble, we can see Team Indy slowly trying to, take a guy or two from Team Fnatic, and we might see a very interesting fight lately. But coming back to your question, XP, I really think holding a high ground is really, really important in this current meta, because if you've got good scopes, if you've got good advantage on the high ground, it's a TPP mode at the end of the day. You're always going to have that first peak.
Now, on your screens right now, we see the boys from Team IND kind of facing off against Fnatic, and you did brush up on this a little earlier. Fnatic, of course, well, both these teams are, teams with high caliber players. On an individual level, all these guys can literally run through the enemies like, a hot knife through butter. But it's a team game after all, and I think that team coordination is something that for me as a spectator during the pro scrims, Fnatic was not really gelling. But is that changed now? Because I do know that towards the end, they really started getting the game together.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about their IGL artist always, he's been having a great run lately, and he's been racking up a lot of kills. Provided if they have a good synergy amongst each other, I don't think there's anything that's stopping them. But if you could see the position of Team Tamila's carry, you see him right on that, high pedestal position he has, and that is very risky. What are your opinions? Because I mean, okay, you got a high ground advantage, but at the same time, you're very vulnerable to, to fights from a lot of angles.
Right, and it's all about angles at this stage, because you might, think that you have your backs up against a wall, but you can get shot in from that blue zone right now, and I'm pretty sure the map is going to come up on your screens in due time. Everyone is kind of, not cowering, but they do have a few compounds for cover, but we do have that massive mountain right dead smack center of the zone. How are they going to go about moving over here, Fixes?
I mean, the only way you can really penetrate that is. I mean, the only way you can penetrate is if two teams, push in at the same time. Then it'll be a little bit difficult for Team Elementrix to actually try to cover that up. But you can see Manti OP taking a kill onto its Orange Sox Anto and finish him right off in the start. So this has, gotten things a little bit interesting. But what do we see here? Wadusa cooking a nade at, Ted right now. Things might get a little rough for Team Synergy over here.
I mean, he did lob that grenade with good precision. Dead, of course, they took a lot of damage as well. But have a look, the boys from Deadeye, they're not really backing off from a fight, even though they're a two-man squad. They have a little bit of a high-risk, high-reward play over here, because they just have that one bridge for cover on the left of the screen. And if you have a look at the map, ladies and gentlemen, we have a massive transition now, kind of going away from the mountain and towards the hospital. So there's going to be a mad rush of vehicles and teams pretty much heading towards one big building.
Yeah, and look at the position of Team Soul. I mean, they've got hospital compounds. They're pretty much doing to be going to be doing fine. But you can see here, Sylvie has been knocked down, but it's still a long way for them to push in right at the face of Team Synergy, because you can see Austin is providing a very good angle for cover fire. And then at the end of the day, they're just a two-man squad. And Team Synergy's got all the four-man up, and they've just given that revive onto their captain, and they're moving out. Austin X are making those early transitions to secure a very safe spot inside the circle. But yes, coming down to the position of Team Soul, I mean, it's going to be a hell of a task for the teams to actually try and close in onto it, because you know the buildings of hospital, right? They're very tricky to penetrate, right?
I mean, well, if you're a master at Erangel, I mean, nothing should be too tricky. But yeah, I get what you mean. But we'll come to that in a second. The boys from Dead Eyes, they're just trying to get a little bit of damage on Strider over there. You know, just trying to ruin their game, because I do not see it too bright for them. They are in the blue zone. They're going to be taking a lot of damage right now. And again, they are on foot. Like I said, a massive transition. We're going to have a lot of fights up on the mountain. I think my wish just came true.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the caster's thing. I mean, we do know about the caster's curse, but it's a caster's blessing. Meanwhile, Poo Man taking down Sylvie, Carrie taking down Fat Rib from Team INES. But you can see the man here himself, Fnatic Scout, going all guns blazing onto its Team IND, and he's just applying that constant pressure. And you can see Snacks already, you know, dropped to 30% HP. Meanwhile, Destro has been taking quite some beautiful knocks with the TMR. But look what have we got? 420 OP being taken down by the zone XP. That's a terrible news for Team U Mumbai.
I mean, you know, it is terrible news. But again, I think you get caught off in the transitions to the new circles, and have a look at that. So, you know, everyone is pretty much in. We've got Team 20, that is, of course, Elementrix up against potential fight with Synergy, still on the mountain towards the east of the map. And Ash over here picking a fight with the boys from Jan Mara. I mean, he's got 2 knocks, 2 to go, and I think he might actually hold them off. But now this is what is happening with Fnatic. They are kind of in the center of a potential onslaught from 2 sides. We've got Jean Mara on one side and Team IND on the other.
I mean, that comes down to how Team Fnatic respond if they are exposing themselves. But meanwhile, Odd Dog going on an onslaught towards Sylvie, knocking him down and finishing him off right off. And we can see On Top yet again trying to search for a few different kills. And Team Synergy has definitely revived one of their teammates. Strider is at full HP. He needs to rotate down. Austin X is also healing up, and things are getting pretty interesting as we approach the late final circles of the game.
You know, Elementrix is one of those teams who've actually really impressed me from day 1, day 2. They kind of had a rocky start, but they've actually, pulled through very well. I mean, of course, individual, these guys are awesome. And talking about that, their fellow members from Nepal, Jean Mara has been eliminated from this game. Of course, they could not bear the attack from Fnatic. They try to kind of sneak into that compound, but like I said, we have very, very little real estate left at this point. And if you control those houses, like you see Fnatic right now, Scout just peppering IND with bullets, they can kinda, run the tempo of this game. They kind of have the advantage right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've got the compound, but now they have to go a little inside the circle. And you can see Manti. Yeah, I mean, Manti is taking a knock onto his Strider as well. Team Synergy kind of, they're losing out on their teamwork right now. They're, getting down by bits and bits. And other teams are really taking advantage of that situation. But look at what we've got in front of our screens right now. Team Fnatic might as well go against Team Caudle right now. And Caudle might get sandwiched from Team Megastars. And then you have Team INES right on the left-hand side. Existence does manage to spot out Fnatic Ronak, but Trance will be the one taking him down.
It's going to be a little bit of a Mexican standoff over here between the boys from Megastars, Godlike, and of course Team INES, who we really haven't heard of a lot till now. But I'm pretty sure they're trying to make a mark. We have Evil Eye kind of putting up the fight against Team 10. That is, of course, the boys from Megastars. A lot of weight on his shoulders, but Fnatic is also going to play sports right now. They need to get in the zone. They are at the edge of the zone. However, they only have that one ridge, and there's only one compound in this whole circle till now, and that compound belongs to Synergy. So I think they have a massive, massive advantage right now. This is going to be a fight to the death out in the open, I think.
I mean, say, like, they still do not have the numbers, right, to defend, and so many people are still yet again alive. You can see Snacks are spraying down onto its scalp, but it was Demon who took that knock, so Snacks definitely will try to steal it off, but he's going on a spraying spree onto its Fanatics always, but always needs to revive his fallen comrade, but let's see if he's actually going to be successful. Likewise, I told Synergy lacking those numbers, and they've been eliminated.
Now, Fnatic find themselves at the receiving end of things. They kind of were holding the whole center position and, gunning down bullets left, right, and center. But now they are going to get pincered with Team IND on one end and Godlike and Megas on the other. And if you have a look, we have Soul falling to grenades right now, one after the other. I think they've lost 2 members already. Regaltos is out of this game. Aman and Viper are bleeding. And Wattle, of course, has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. But the enemy is coming in. They want to get that win. Wattle in the smoke on the side. He goes prone. He is trying to listen to footsteps. Is he going to get spotted out? He still hasn't been spotted out. Oh my goodness. Can he actually pull off an upset over here? Aman is trying to crawl back into some sort of cover, but this is a little bit heart-pounding. Have a look, Fixes. Mortal is still alive.
Oh my God, holy moly. I mean, Mortal, look at this, the resilience on this guy. Look at the, the nerves of steel onto it, because he was surrounded by absolutely everyone. But yeah, Pansing does not want to give up. He's looking around. I mean, he's like, where are you, Mortal? I mean, Mortal was just inside the car and is, I think, still sitting maybe. Yeah, he is. I mean, still, still the members of Team UAME have not been able to spot him out, but Pansing has been taken out. This might be the moment, and yes, Mortal goes for that beautiful knock. He does manage to finish another member, and with that, Mortal, the birthday boy, starting the show.
Oh my goodness, this has got to be one of the moments that we are definitely going to see in the highlights, because even I thought for a second Mortal just disappeared. He was sitting in the car. That is distraction at its best. That is a smart gameplay. I mean, we make fun of those 200 IQ plays. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, was a 200 IQ play. I do believe he got a few kill points for his team. Last man surviving. He does have those 2 kills, but his journey is still not over. He is getting shot from everywhere, and this is going to look a bit tantalizing for him. He does go down, but good effort on the part of Soul, and they do manage to get up to the 8th position.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this would be our dark aage jeet hai wali moment, because Mortal, we have to give it up. What an amazing play. But you can see Kroten, finishing off Destro, and with that, we have Team U Mumbai Esports finally getting eliminated, and Team Caudle has Kroten playing in instead of Huster, one of their more dynamic salters. But Kroten has been doing the job lately. He's been grinding it out really hard, and that really shows and reflects in his performance. But we can see the top teams over here. We have Godlike with 7 points already, and just trailing a little bit behind our team Fnatic.
All right, we have the 5 teams remaining. Of course, Godlike in full force over here. They literally are playing Godlike right now. 7 kills to their names. And I did see INES still has 1 member, so good show from INES today. These guys are going to be happy that they're in the top 5. They've had a rocky start, but I'm sure that they are going to change that right now. But now bullets are going to fly everywhere. PSG crawlers also. Another 3-man squad. Of course, the more people you have, the bigger the advantage at this stage. And Fnatic, against all odds, remember they were almost pinched and almost out of this game. They are still keeping their head up high above the fire, the smoke, the water, whatever you want to call it. But I think Godlike currently in the best position in the given circle.
I mean, yeah, look at themselves. They've got all the scars, they've got all those riches, but always are managing down to take HB right off the game, and he's got a knock, and he just finished him off. But always would try to take a few, boosters and be on that full optimal HP. Meanwhile, Evil Eye taking a knock onto his muscle, finishing him off. Evil Eye also finishing down Taljeet. So that's a bad news for Team Orange Rock. But always has also been knocked, and it's going to
PSG, but he's going for that revive, and he gets it.
It's pretty early to say.
This is something you don't see though, right?
Yeah, we don't see, but that's really, we have to get those extra A game on. You cannot just be really casual and let your teammate die, because in the final circles you need him. And as you can see, Team Caudle having a very good map control. And likewise, Evil Eye, he's being the last member alive for his team. He would definitely not want to make a lot of noise. He wouldn't want to, diverge that attention that Godlike has on Team Fnatic. But we cannot also also rule out the members of Team PSG Crawlers. I mean, they're still there, sneaking around, having smoke everywhere. I am really, waiting to see what can the guys from Team PSG Crawlers do over here.
Against all odds right now, Fnatic, they were in a bit of a pickle, but they have these rocks for cover. They're going to utilize them to their full extent. I think Evo might just spot out Evil Eye if he looks a bit carefully. Wait a second. He does know that the enemy is somewhere over there. Now, the thing is, they are all crawling, like you mentioned. And Godlike still, if you have a look at the map, they have the high ground. But the high ground can also be problematic as Evo spots out CG. CG gets taken down. And, just grenades being lobbed for cover can actually give away the position of the enemy if one is careful enough. And Evil Eye just took out Godlike kill. Wow, he stole that kill, Fixes.
And
racking up those points.
Even Kroten, look at him. He's going a little bit aggressive. He's standing up so late in the circle. Evo has definitely spotted him down, but Kroten manages to wipe out Team INES as he takes Evil Eye. And as you can see, PSG Crawlers Evo being the last member surviving from his squad, he's getting the job done. He's constantly poking the members of Team Godl. And now that the members of Team Godl know the whereabouts of his position, I think they're going to punish him because Team Fnatic, they still do have a cover. I really doubt if Team Godl has a grenade to their belt. But you can see Evo has been eliminated. So finally it comes down to a 3v2 showdown between Team Fnatic and Team Godl.
I think that was a little bit of kind of like a misclick on his part because he kind of got up a bit too early. He should have made this wait down, but wait a second. Existent goes in for the kill. He gets knocked out, taken down, and I do believe Fnatic went out in second position. I think Godlike just got the winner chicken dinner. Oh my goodness. Again, like I said, these guys have been playing aggressive right off the bat. And I do believe the kills should be in double numbers, double digits, which of course will be up on your screens shortly. But wow, what a performance by these boys, Fixes. Amazing.
I mean, look at their performance. I mean, they have done that with Kroten. They are definitely missing out Huster, but yes, perfect positioning like we talked, and they utilized the circle well. They played around the ridges, and that's a perfect winner chicken dinner right for you.
A high-octane game, a high-octane matchup, and that was some very impressive stuff, apart from the final circle as well. That was an interesting game, mainly because of how long it took for a team to get eliminated there. Experiment, I do believe, was 56, 55 players remaining alive, and not a single team got eliminated. It kind of feels like teams are kind of taking the first game of the PMPL after such a big break. They're trying to take things a little bit slow right now.
I mean, I'm going to have to kind of go on it in a different direction right now. It's not about taking it slow because, these players have been playing the professional scrims pretty much a week after the PMPL was paused. So they know the ins and outs of how the opponents and how basically they are going to react in a specific situation. What I think stood out today was the fact that they weren't afraid of taking fights, and not being afraid gets this for you. We have the MVP from game one, and it is all for Godlike Smokey OP with a whopping 4 kills, which is no small feat on such a grand stage, 401 damage. And if you have a look, they did traverse quite a bit as well with 5.47 kilometers.
It is interesting how when you look at Godlike, I think they got 11 kills at the end of the game there. So I think they got 31 points in total, if I'm not mistaken, placing first. They've been looking consistently good, but also the kill spread. Think about it. 11 kills, and your top fragger only has 4 frags. That means everyone chipped in, right? Everyone got 3 kills, 2 kills here, maybe another 4 kills over there. So great effort from Team Godlike. And even Fnatic, considering how dire it looked at one point, they had just one player standing, but he got the res in, and in the end managed to get a second position. Not bad at all. I do believe, but the moment for me that stood out the most, Fixes, has to be that mortal. Well, you can call it a clutch. He should have been dead. He should have been dead in the water there, but great play from great patience and just the sheer cojones of that man to sit in the car and just sit there, just out in the open, and his opposition had no idea where he was. That was, I think, the play of that particular matchup. But let's take a look very quickly at the top 5 players. We have Smokey OP from Godlike, 4 frags for him, tied with Viru from Orange Rock, who also had a pretty high placing. Then we have Evil Eye from INES. He was last player alive, I think, for his team there, placing a top 2 position, 3 kills. Ash from Fnatic with 3 kills of his own. And of course, we have Gil from Godlike, who had a 3 fragging game. Not like one player really shining or really going above and beyond compared to everyone else. It's been a pretty equal low fragging affair, so to speak. But Fixes, what are your thoughts? Like, is looking at the scrims that's been played so far recently, is this something, is the way the teams approach this particular game as expected, or do you think it's been comparatively a little bit of a slow start so far?
I mean, look, we have to agree on one certain thing. That is the champions, that is Team Coral. They have won the PMCO. They're looking good. Even in the scrims, they've outperformed. They have taken 21 kills as well. So I was what thing that really shook me was they did that with Kroten, because we have been knowing him to be a content creator, not much on the competitive side, but the way he's practiced all those hours in, and the way he's been performing, they definitely are missing out on Huster. But look at the number of kills they've taken. That's 11.
Yes, so 20 placement points, 11 kills in total, 31 points. That's a massive win right there for Godlike. That's going to definitely give a nice little kick up their butts, up the standings. Fnatic coming second, nothing too shabby about that. 8 frags for the boys in orange and black. We have Orange Rock. Ironically, they're going to be placed third. However, they do get 9 kills, definitely buffing up the total points they have. Then after that, we have, of course, Team Extreme, VSG Crawlers, who had a pretty good game compared to what I've seen them do in the first 2 days of the Pro League. Then we have, of course, INES Mumba having a much more quieter game, but they do ensure that they do manage to land in the top 8 spot there. Experiment. So we're going to be in the second half, but again, disappointments again. I do believe Team Soul placed 9th, and I hate to keep harping on them, but let's be real, they are the crowd favorites, and so far they haven't done much. Let's be real here.
Well, we'll come to Soul in just a second. What stands out for me on this screen right now is INES, because they are bottom of the table. Yeah. And it just kind of shows their grit right now that, even though 2 days have gone by, they haven't given up. And, of course, Soul over there in 9th position, 4 points for placement, 2 kills courtesy of Mortal at the end. Well, I guess... Again, it is day 3 technically, right? But it is we've come back after such a long break. I think the boys just need some time to unravel and unwrap themselves and showcase their true potential. But if you have a look at the other teams on the bottom half, Elementrix in 10th, Megastars in 11th, Synergy 12th, IND. I was expecting a little higher placement for them, but of course you have to get some kills as well. But I think INES right now kind of stood out for me in this game because it's that grit, it's that mentality, I guess. That, hey man, I get it. We're bottom fraggers right now, but we can still put up quite a show.
All right. Can you also change the name to the Professor or something? Like replace the O in the Professor with a 0? Because I'm sorry, you're just giving a lot of Professor vibes here. You're kind of like that young professor walking to college, and you see all the young girls. Oh my God, Professor!
I have my notes ready too. I think I'm playing the bot.
All right. So we do have the overall standings right now for the PMPL South Asia League Finals, and Mumba still on top. They had a substantial lead initially. Synergy still holding on to the top 3 slot right now at number 2, mainly because they had a lot of rounds as a buffer. So despite placing the bottom 8 of that game, they're still going to hold on to the spot. Orange Rock, great performance from them. I do believe they managed to climb right above TSM Entity, who yet are to play a game. They're not going to play the first 2 games of today, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be playing the final 3 games of the day, and that's going to be TSM Entity's opportunity to try and reclaim their throne. We have IND, Fnatic, Godlight, Powerhouse, Team Extreme, and Team Tamila rounding off the top 10 right there. Your quick thoughts on that, but hold on to that. Fixes, take me through the second half of this.
I mean, we have a little bit disappointing performance from Team Megastars on 11. On 12th, we have Team Shy and Mara. 13th, we have Team Soul. I think they're just climbing their way up. And on 14th, we have VSG Crawlers. We have to give it up down to Evo, who was really, really amazing in those, final phases of the game. On 15th, we have Team Cell. 16th, we have Team Elementrix. 17th, we have Team Hype. On 18th, we have Team Marcus Gaming. 19th, we have Team Dead Eyes, guys. On 20th, Team INES.
Well, that is indeed the standings right now. It's still, look, if you're a fan of INES or Deadeye guys or Marcos or Hype or Elementrix or any of these teams here in the bottom 10, bear in mind, we're in day 3. We got 14 more days of PUBG Mobile action remaining. We have 5 games a day. There's a lot of opportunities for these teams to grind on back. And bear in mind, it's not just about getting the top 3 spots. 5 spots available for the World League, and also a lot of money on the line as well. So nothing's quite done yet. But going to map number 2, I do believe that's going to be Sandhawk coming up. XP, your thoughts? What are you looking forward to?
Sandhawk, synonymous with snakes, synonymous with that thick vegetation. I mean,
malaria as well, maybe?
Well, let's not bring that into it right now because we've got bigger problems than malaria over here. But we'll come back to that. Look at the kill leaders right now. The revitalized list right now. Sirvi and Dead still on top, and we have a little bit of a shuffle. Demon is coming in on 3rd place with 15 kills, followed by the boys from Orange Rock at 15. You know, you just mentioned this earlier, that if you're a fan of Dead Eye Gaming, or you're a fan of INES,